All right, we are live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Rick's Remedies. It's Stacy and Rick here to talk to you today about Revive and why sometimes you might not get the result that you're expecting. Oftentimes, it's not because the product is failing; it's more a user error. So, Rick's going to talk to you a little bit about that. So, take it away, Rick.
Okay, great. Yeah, we get calls from time to time. It's like, man, I did my Revive. I think I followed everything right. And it just doesn't seem like it did anything. My pool's still green. It hasn't cleared up. Nothing's dropped out. And usually what it is that we're finding, what we're finding is there's a step that may have been missed or not done properly. Usually when people use Revive, they have a swamp or a pool that they can see the bottom. So the first question we always ask is, well, if my pool is green, okay, can you see the bottom? Well, no, I can't. Or maybe I can see the first step. Or yeah, I can see the bottom, but it's just kind of a cloudy green. The procedure is pretty much the same for any pool that you're treating, provided that you can or cannot see the bottom, but just kind of go over that and why they feel that Revive didn't work. Typically, when people are using Revive, we always recommend that you shock quite a bit, usually like 4 gallons of liquid per 10,000 gallons or 4 pounds of cal hypo per 10,000 gallons, which the pH of both of those products is high. So if you have a pool that's sitting at a pH of 8 and you shock it, the pH is even going to go higher. So what that does is it reduces the effectiveness of the chlorine. So really what we have is a chlorine problem. So if you have a bunch of chlorine in the pool, like Revive, thank goodness, is tolerant to 30 parts per million of chlorine, and you shock the pool and your pH goes to 8.5, that chlorine's definitely in the pool and it's measurable. But with the pH that high, it's just kind of sitting there in the pool hanging out. It's not working. It's not killing that algae. It's been rendered ineffective. So that's why we always recommend testing your pool prior to putting in the Revive. And if you have an 8 or higher, we always recommend adding acid at the same time to bring that pH down, or bring it down prior to adding the Revive, just so that the effectiveness of the chlorine is working for you and not just sitting out in the pool. That's one of the major reasons that Revive doesn't seem to work. It always works. The other thing about Revive, Stacy, is it's got a lot of things that it does. It's got a lot of work to do, because you think about your pool, and if it's green, it may have phosphates. It's going to have obviously a lot of organic debris in there and other things, irons. Who knows what's in there? So if Revive is out there, it's working here, it's working on this, it's working on that, it gets tired. It's like, I am done. I've done everything I can do. So in that case, the only thing better than Revive is more Revive, because you've exhausted that. So we need to make sure that that pH is in an active level. The other thing that we notice too, and this is really important, and I don't understand why, I don't know that any of us do, but alkalinity is very important. If you have a pool that's green and the alkalinity is 0, which chances are you haven't done anything to it for a while, it's had rain, so the alkalinity may be sitting at 0. We want that alkalinity to be at 80, 100 parts per million, right there in range before we introduce that Revive. We also want to make sure that all the organic debris that you can get out of there prior to introducing either the chlorine or the Revive is gone, because that stuff down at the bottom of your pool, leaves, weeds, whatever may have settled over the winter, that just eats chlorine. Even if your pH is right, that stuff just gobbles up all the chlorine, and it's like, oh crap, I still have no chlorine. Even though I put in 8 gallons or 10 gallons in my pool, it's gone. And Revive is saying, hey, help me here. I need a little bit of help. So the beautiful thing about Revive is that it is tolerant to 30 parts per million of chlorine. So it's one of the few procedures and one of the few products that you can shock your pool and add the Revive at the same time. We get that question a lot. Can I shock it and revive it at the same time? Yes, you can, because the chances of you getting over that 30 parts per million or even close to it, that would be a heck of a lot of chlorine to get over that. So like I said, we recommend on a pool that we're assuming has very little chlorine, 4 gallons of liquid, 4 pounds of cal hypo, whichever you can get. Let it circulate a little bit. And our first goal always when using Revive is a murky gray. Basically, that means that the chlorine's done its job. We've gotten to a murky gray. That means that the algae is dead and just the bodies are floating around. And Revive is the best thing there is out there to drop all that stuff to the bottom and get it out of the pool so you can get a nice clean start, get your water balanced, then start using our product called Easy Pool and a weekly dose of Revive to keep all those things, that phosphates, metals, any organic debris in check so you don't have problems, especially if you have trees around or a golf course or a lawn guy that's spraying who knows what on your yard that's getting in your pool and the algae is going, yeah, man, that's some food. I'm hungry. Let's grow a little bit. So those are things to look out for because Revive always works, but you've got to give it the proper environment because it is so multitasking that it's like, oh, I got to do this, I got to do that. There's phosphates, there's metals, there's organic debris, there's algae. You know, I'm worn out here. So you got to get that support base for the Revive. We're talking about alkalinity of at least 60 to 80 parts per million, your pH between 7 and 8, and your chlorine level as high as you can get it, close to, but less than 30 parts per million. So that dose that we recommended on a pool that we're assuming has 0 should get you just around in that area so that that the Revive can do its thing.
Sounds
what do you think about that, Stacey?
That's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know sometimes too, we get calls and people just have mechanical issues with the bottle. So the Revive startup cleanup that we're talking about is that your alarm to wake up?
Sorry.
Okay.
That's probably another call about Revive.
Yeah, the Revive hotline. It's that time of year. But we get a lot of calls about the Revive not being able to come out of the bottle. And sometimes that's just because when the product is being shipped from where it's manufactured, which is here in the United States, actually in Tennessee, to the dealer, it makes a lot of stops along the way. And so there's a dip tube inside that spray head that sometimes just gets jiggled out just a little bit. So you just need to unscrew the top, push that back up in there, and then go back at it. So I know that's one of the most common, the Revive isn't working questions that we get. That along with the, you just didn't kill the algae yet question. So those seem to be the top two. Well,
yeah, that's a great point because I've even had calls. So if your bottle isn't empty when you're done, that means the Revive's not going in the water. I know there's like other things, there's other products like you buy for your garden that it just adds water and then something dissolves inside and the bottle's still full. Revive, if the bottle's not empty, that means you haven't put any in your pool at all. And I have had a couple of those calls because my question is, well, did the bottle empty? No. I'm like, okay, I'm putting Revive in your pool. So yes, make sure that bottle drains down to empty. It should take 10 minutes to do it. Make sure you flip the knob all the way as far as you can. Sometimes it's a little tough, but make sure you pushed it all the way and that bottle starts emptying. And it should take about 10 minutes to empty that pool over the surface of your pool. So make sure that you're actually getting the Revive in the water so it can do its thing and get that thing cleaned up for you.
Yep. And that usually takes about 24 to 48 hours, right, Rick?
Yeah, that's a great question. It usually takes 24 to 48 hours. Now, this time of year, it's May, it's still cold up north. Everything slows down in cold weather. So don't freak out if you're looking at it at 36 hours and you see it starting to drop to the bottom, but it's not quite where you want it to be. Just give it a little bit more time. And the other thing is sometimes we get questions, you get like a nasty sea foam on top of the pool. And just yesterday, I got a call and the nice lady said, well, my pool looks great, but I've got this nasty stuff on. I said, does it look like nasty sea foam at the beach? And she said, yeah. Okay, so the reason that is that when chlorine kills algae, algae releases carbon dioxide, which bubbles up to the surface and carries the Revive up with it. So when that happens to you, there's no need to add anything else to the pool. Just take your garden hose, spray water over it. It'll turn milky and it'll go down to the bottom. So just be aware of that. Just keep spraying. It may take a little time. You're telling that Revive, get back there and do your work. So just kind of spray that, and then you'll clear that up and get rid of that foamy problem on the top. So those are mostly the calls that we get. My Revive didn't work. Well, did you check your pH? No. What is it? Well, it's off the charts high. Okay, so you have plenty of chlorine, but it's not working for you. Or your alkalinity is low. That's something it seems to be apparent to me that that's becoming more and more important. Don't know the reason why, but it seems to Revive likes a little bit of alkalinity in there.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I think we touched on all the common questions that we get when it comes to Revive. So if you're watching this live, we would love for you to let us know that you were here. So go in the comments and let us know if you caught us live or if you're watching us on the replay. And scrolling across the bottom of your screen is our customer experience hotline number. You can call or text us on that number. So if you have questions about Revive or any other products that we carry, feel free to give us a call or shoot us a text, and we'll help you troubleshoot any issues that you might be having. Is there anything else you want to say, Rick?
No, have a great Friday. Have a great weekend. Enjoy your pool. And thanks for using our products and watching our video.
Absolutely. And happy Mother's Day to all the moms. We'll
Absolutely.
see you in a couple weeks.
Okay.
Right.
Bye-bye.